everybody, welcome to the Current Events Vlog. Today we're going to be talking about presidential pardons. News has come out that President Trump is considering pardoning himself, and these considerations have unleashed a flurry of responses with people wondering whether or not, the president could actually do it, and the implications if he could. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. As best I can discern, it seems that this controversy started with the revelation that Attorney General Jeff Sessions had indeed communicated about campaign issues with Russian representatives. Because this story broke with such close proximity to the resignation of Sean Spicer and the, revelations about Donald Trump Jr., liberal and progressive corners of the internet started claiming that, this will lead to a perjury conviction for Sessions, maybe a treason trial for Trump Jr., and all the while just a huge blow to the Trump administration. I'm not going to get into the veracity or the likelihood of these things here. In response to these revelations and after conversations with his aides, President Trump tweeted out on Saturday, June 22nd that, quote, "All agree that the U.S. president has complete power to pardon." The fact that the president used the word complete in tandem with a report from the Washington Post suggests that he's investigating the ability of using the pardon to exonerate himself or absolve himself of criminal misdoings. Whether this came up as a sort of intellectual exercise or out of curiosity stemming from the troubles that his family and his administration are having, or anything else that may be more sinister, is not definitively known as of now. Here's something we do know, since, it's written right there in the Constitution. The president does indeed have the power to pardon individuals of their crimes. What's unknown, however, is whether or not that ability extends to the individual occupying the office of the presidency itself. It's a bit of a gray area, considering that honestly no president before has had the audacity to actually go out and try it. Some legal scholars claim that yes, due to the specific wording of the Constitution, the president does have the ability to pardon himself. Others say no, he does not, and the whole idea of pardoning oneself goes against the whole premise of checks and balances established in the Constitution by the founders. But most legal scholars gave the most intellectually honest answer, which is, we have absolutely no idea. I want to focus on one of the arguments made by some of those in the Road camp, specifically that made by Lawrence Tribe, Richard Painter, and Norman Eastman, since their critique is some of the most vociferous and ardent, as well as the most visible and accessible. It was made in a op-ed piece in the Washington Post. The link will be down in the doobly-doo for those who are interested. They claim that a president can definitively not pardon himself due to a ruling made under former President Richard Nixon's Office of Legal Counsel. When asked about the topic, due to obvious reasons, since, Nixon, they said that an individual cannot act as the judge in their own trial. Therefore, Nixon, or any other president for that matter, could not pardon themselves. But I honestly wonder if there wouldn't be a way for the Supreme Court to argue around that logic. After all, it's possible to conceive of the president's power to pardon as acting as part of his purview as the chief executive, as the individual who's charged with executing the laws of Congress and the punishments doled out by the judicial branch. So in this scenario, President Trump wouldn't be acting as his own judge. He would just be selecting to not execute on the punishments issued by the judicial branch. There are obviously just hours of implications associated with a ruling of that kind, and I'm not going to poke that with a 20-foot stick right now. Regardless, there is one thing that everybody on both sides of this debate can agree on, and that's the fact that even if the president could pardon himself, it would offer no protection against impeachment should that process arise. See, impeachment isn't so much a criminal procedure as much as it is a legal one. The courts have ruled in Richard Nixon v. United States that the Senate is, quote, the sole body capable of trying impeachment cases, not the courts. According to the Constitution, the president may be impeached in the House and tried in the Senate for, quote, high crimes and misdemeanors. But from the court's perspective, there's really no clear definition of what constitutes a high crime and a misdemeanor. Only Congress can determine that. So if Congress decided that, chewing obnoxiously with your mouth open was something that can be, impeachable, and the Senate agreed to it, in theory, that could actually happen. Although this is obviously a silly and specious example, if only for the sole reason that those who, chew obnoxiously with their mouths open deserve a much harsher sentence, this flexibility allows members of Congress to eject a president who may not have done something explicitly criminal, but have still done something that's so unbecoming that they ought to be removed from office. At the end of the day, as is the case with many of these current events, there's a lot of speculation. First, we don't know if President Trump is actually considering pardoning himself. His lawyers have argued that pardons are completely off the table in terms of a strategy, and his aides have indicated that the discussions of pardons were never in the context of him being eager to do so, just more out of a sense of understanding where his boundaries as the president lies. Second, should President Trump then decide to actually pardon himself, we have no idea how efficacious this would be. There are a lot of good arguments saying that it's improper, that it would work, that it's legal, that it's not, a whole over the place. The fact of the matter is that we don't have any clear precedent for this, since this would have to go to the Supreme Court to try out. Finally, should the president's self-pardon actually be successful in exonerating him of any criminal misdoings, it's guaranteed that this would not actually halt any type of impeachment proceedings. In fact, such an action may end up causing it, since the Congress may be more than just a little pissed off. But impeachment is just a whole other issue, and we'll cross that bridge if and I say if and when we get to it. do you guys think about the speculation surrounding the prospect of President Trump pardoning himself? Do you think that it would be accepted by the Supreme Court, that logic would hold? And if so, what would be the consequences of that? I'd love to hear your thoughts are down in the comments section below. I gave a more thorough treatment to this topic in a blog post recently. You can see that the link will be around here for that. Links for everything that we talked about as always will be down in the doobly-doo, as well as a link to the Facebook, the Twitter, and the blog. I look forward to seeing you guys out there as well. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so by commenting down below, by sharing this video, and by subscribing to the channel to stay in the loop for more awesome social science content. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.